this may ignite a love affair with analog for you guys. As you know, analog is it's like one of the bedrock bread and butter synthesizers that comes with Ableton, specifically Ableton Live Suite, which is kind of what you need to have to get the Ableton synthesizers, although you can purchase them directly on the site. And analog, as you probably know, is meant to model like a classic hardware analog synthesizer. So yeah, it's really cool. But the thing is there's like, I don't want to say like an Easter egg in analog, but really I don't think a lot of people use it. So to start off, and just so you know, it's over here in filter, the Formant filters. So just so you're aware, if you want your analog to look like mine, because I think I did make some changes, drop your analog on here. You may have oscillator 2 turned on. You can turn that off for now. Chances are these ones are turned off as well. Keep them that way. So just going across the top here, you know, I'm actually going to change it from sine wave. Yours is probably on saw, but square waves just sound better, and they even sound better in this example as well. Something about the spacing out of the harmonics, because a square wave, as I'm sure you know, or I guess pulse wave, which is the appropriate term, is odd numbered harmonics, where saw waves give you even and odd harmonics, which you would think would make it sound louder and bigger. But to be honest, in my opinion, I think the saw waves actually sound just like smaller, like the square wave sounds more open to me. So you can use any one you want, but you're going to need to use the square or the saw. And in fact, I'm actually kind of curious to know if this formanting, what it will do for white noise. So maybe we'll check that out. So when you go over here, normally you would be, this is the filter section. Normally you're going to be on a low pass. It doesn't really matter which one. It's just how steep the resonance cutoff, or the Q as they would call it, is. So most of the time you're going to use low pass. But Formant, I'm gonna go to Formant 6 dB. I'm not really too sure which one's better, 6 or 12. I've got better results with 6. Normally 6 means it's like more open, and like 12 would mean it's more spikier. So I feel like I've been getting better sounds with this. So we're on our Formant filter, and things are gonna operate a little bit differently with when we're in filter. Don't worry, I can power through any. I don't know why all of a sudden my voice is sounding like that. I don't know. I think I have a lot to say, and I don't know. In any event, so we definitely want to get our spectrum, because we should just always have the spectrum on when we're doing this kind of stuff, so we can see the audio frequency spectrum. And so if we play a note here, and we're probably going to be changing this octave, so we play a note just right out the gate. Interesting. I'm going to go to amp. I'm going to go to release and give it more of release. Going to lower the master volume. Boy, what the hell is going on? I'm just a little raspy for today. 1 second. I don't know if this kombucha will help. So it's fine, because as long as it doesn't sound bad being raspy, I've got lots of energy, vocal power. So I'm not going to stop, and it's not going to tire me out, because I got it going and flowing, because this is a good one. So sounds good. So very quick, Formant filtering is when you take a filter and you peak certain points in the frequency spectrum to mimic vowels, like A, E, like the vowels, right? And then you move them around, and it gets really cool. I'm actually going to take this and put it down an octave. Again. Maybe I'll go there, keep it here. I feel like this is ringing a lot longer than 4 seconds. It's so weird. Is there any envelopes on? Yeah, so this envelope, I never want that on. I don't even know why I did that. I don't want any velocity on there because it's, yeah. So let's lower this and let's see what's happening up here. It is getting lower, but it's still letting a lot through. So you would want to like automate this. Now here's another big fundamental difference. And it says this in the Ableton manual, but resonance, we're not just jacking up the resonance, the Q, we're actually like moving it around. So it operates differently as resonance would if you were on like any other filter. So check this out. So basically find what kind of like vocal vowel thing. So whenever you like saw any like YouTube videos, you heard people talking about vowel bass or anything like that, like this is what you're doing. And you could do this with EQ. You could do it to EQ8, even though you would have to find a way to like automate all this stuff to make it like do all the whooping. So that's why like, honestly, it's crazy. And it's not just like vowel basses, like you'll just get a bass that just sounds very interesting. You could just sample it and then put it in a sampler and do more. And then it's really weird. It's like releasing, like I'm hitting a note. It's like, I don't know, it's really weird. Release is so important. Back to here, so just find something you like. I don't want to have too much high frequencies because we can always come back and then throw you know, an auto filter down here to cut anything out if we needed it to. But let's just find an interesting area. So like, you don't even have to do that. Like you can just be like, oh, I just want like an interesting bass to play with. And then you've got like, and then it's only when you start modulating these and you get those like crazy cool sounds. I don't know why we haven't covered this more, to be honest with you. I really do not know. So I'm gonna drop the LFO. We could use these LFOs, but I wanna see it move. So you click map, which now allows you to assign it. I'm gonna take the depth way down and the rate way down. We just want a little bit, and I wanna put it on the resonance. Now, if this jumps up or down, we can fix that because I want it to stay around this 43 Hertz, and we can move it. We'll move it with this offset, but let's see what it does right now. Okay. I need more depth. More rate. A little bit of jitia. And then you can go into here and then map this also to filter frequency. Now maybe we don't want it to move as much, so then we can like drag down this. Very cool, I like that. So basically, yeah, you can play around with these values. It pretty much sounds good everywhere. It's just like different kind of vowels. And if you want to modulate it to make it seem like this robot's like, or just whatever it might be. Apparently we're going to have sentient robots walking around the planet very soon. I think they're going to call them Robo-Sapiens. So like, yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. I just saw autonomous robots walking around like a Tesla plant. So they're there, and I mean, the AI is there, so you just need to hook up the AI with the robot and then, you know, have it then have like the vocal aspect, which is probably easier than the other ones. So yeah, pretty interesting. And then there'll be some other species of human emerging, but we can get into that in the private tiered video, so buy an NFT. Hey guys, what is going on? OpenSea, it's an NFT marketplace. You can own this art if you would like to support, and then you own this art. You'll say, I own wonderful old man. Now back to the show. All right, so back to analog. One thing we can just do really quickly, because sometimes when you play with these formants, they can lower some of the, like it's a little bit like high. I kind of want a little bit of bass, and I don't know if I really want to go down another octave. I think I might want to keep it here. Can I get a nice chord out of this or no? Yeah, really not. So I'm going to inactivate oscillator 2, and I'm going to, so right now oscillator 2 will be fed into here, which I don't want. So I'm actually going to say all of it go into filter 2. So now it's being passed into filter 2, so we must turn it on. We don't really need to do anything with it. If there's any envelope to velocity, I would just turn that to 0. And now we have to turn on amplifier 2, and I want the envelope to look like this. And I'm going to change it from a square to a sine wave, because I just want like a sub. And I'm going to turn this volume all the way down, and I'm going to play a note, and then I'm going to like bring it up, and I want to get just like a good sub. Now watch this thing here. I'm going to maybe lower this a little bit. Watch the thing, and you should see like a sub one starting to come up when I drag this up. Let's see if it does it well for us. Yeah, dude. Let's see if we can play with the volume envelope. Because maybe I don't want it to sustain that loud. Or maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a little bit of an attack, so maybe it doesn't fight with the beginning of the other one. No. So turning it off. That was weird. It just like popped. Very nice. So now we're going to do the next part. So if you came here for the Formant filtering, well, then I hope you stay here for what I don't even know what to call it yet. Rhythmic side chaining. So here's what I want to do. So like I want to play this note, which is just going to sustain, right? So I'm holding it down. It'll play for as long as I hold it. And even though we have movement, you know, and in fact, what if I just jack this up and played a chord? Notice how you still got that sub down there? A lot of times when you have like multiple oscillator opportunities, you can do things like what we just did. In fact, I'm going to see. Yeah, you can add like that sub in there. So anyways, so we've got just a sustaining sound. It's got some nice modulation because we wanted that like robot vocal sound. It sounds good if you're not listening on like something that's got any bit of a sub, like headphones or like a system with sub. That sounds really good. So always try to listen on the best playback devices. I don't know what most of you guys listen to this stuff on. When I watch YouTube, I normally just watch it on my TV, which has like an okay bass sound. But if you're like listening on like just like a phone, you might miss it. So just 333. It said 333 up there. Well, it stayed on the 333 for a long time. That means we're creating stuff, good stuff. We're magicians in our own right. So here is this rhythmic side chaining, which I'm going to start doing a lot of because I'm going to minimize the thing. I don't even know if I even need to minimize it, but I'm going to drop something on here called a gate. And I'm going to open up an audio track. And what's so cool about this is like, it doesn't even, so I want a drum loop, okay? I'm just typing drum and samples. Everyone like gets samples, and I just want a drum loop. I don't even care what it sounds like because we're not even going to hear it. We're not going to hear the drums, but we're going to hear its rhythmic dynamicism applied to our. What just happened over here? Oh, because of this gate. We're going to open up the gate, this little triangle. We're going to click sidechain. Why is it doing that? So here's a gate. By the way, we're also going to use this technique with auto filter, which also has a side chain. And probably the compressor. The compressor and the gate should do a similar thing, but I want to just do the gate because we'll probably do all three. We're definitely going to do, and so anyways, what you're able to do is you're able to take any sort of long sustaining sound. And that's like what I really like that's what I'm teaching a lot, is these like sounds that are just very great to hear, whether it's like a big pad, it's like a big chord that just plays and moves, some sort of a drone, or hell, even some sort of just bass sound, just any sort of sound. And when we hold it, it just plays indefinitely, right? But what if we could add like a rhythmic character to it? So rather than like, we can have like, you know what I mean? And you would be like, oh, that's a brilliant idea, but like, how would you do that? Would you like enact an LFO, and what would you do? And there's ways you can add like rhythm and movement, but this technique is so cool. And sidechaining, and it's something where you can instantly do it to any single thing you want. This is a fun thing to play regardless of what you intend to do with it. It can even just give you an idea. So what is gate? I'm going to close this sidechain thing for a brief second. Gate is a way to say, and by the way, see this? So think of this blue line here as a gate. And when the sound goes above, I can't remember if it's above or below, the sound gets cut out. A practical use of a gate would be like if you were recording like a podcast and you're picking up sound in the room. And so it would be like when we aren't, like if you were on a podcast with me and we were talking, there's going to be like a hum or whatever. It can say like, when the volume falls below a certain threshold, cut it out. You know what I mean? But that, you really have to set these settings, which is why I think they added so many of these like ridiculous settings. Because like the old gate, like way back in the day, like Ableton Live 8, Ableton Live 9, gate looked very different. It was like one control. It was like basically, okay, if it plays above here, cut it out. If it doesn't. But so in any event, in fact, I'm going to just click this, click return just to get a default gate. Open up sidechain, click sidechain, and I want the sidechain from the drum loop. And I'm going to double click on this drum loop. I want to click warp so I can loop it. And it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to go to beats just because anytime you're looping or anytime you're like warping a drum loop, like you would just use beats. You don't have to, but I'd rather just tell you that. And there's actually some cool effects we can do in beats mode, including this thing. But yeah, maybe we'll get to that. So we're not actually going to play this loop. Like we don't want to hear it. So we're going to click play and we're going to do something really quickly. Lower that. I'm going to just make sure I'm still recording. Got it. I'm going to come down to here and I'm going to go sends only. And now it turns this nice blue color. 444. See it 444 up there? So now we're not hearing it. But look at this. So now let's turn this off, and I'm going to turn it back on, and I'm going to start playing with the stuff. Let's turn it on. Just change the stuff. Gate's a little bit harder to work with, to be honest, than the next one. And now let's turn it off. Without. Just sustaining. Now it's moving, so it sounds nice. There's movement, so it sounds nice, and we like this sound. And if you didn't like this sound, well, that would be different, but we like this sound. So now let's add this. So we can now have this customizable rhythm. You know what I mean? Did you know that? So I'm going to minimize this, turn it off. And actually, I'm not going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it right back on. Listen, look, see how it's still playing? It's like, but it won't do anything until we hit a note. Very cool. But here's what we can do. Let's find another drum loop. Oh, this is like a crazy sounding one. Oh, this is going to be interesting. You guys are going to love it. So listen, and I'm going to change loop. And so we can like put these on like follow actions, so it'll just randomly change. But, or like every 4 bars, it plays a different one. So check this out. So this is the original one. But now let's click this one. See if this helps. Let's go beats. And then look, you can like times it by 2. Negative 222. So yeah, that just kind of lets you know. And like you can even go into like grooves and like add these grooves. Why is it not letting me drag that? You can like drag the grooves on top of these. That's so weird. Oh, yeah, we can do that because we want to like get these things, but it's a lot easier to just use audio. So that's why it wasn't allowing me to throw it into an audio track, because these are like MIDI. So let's go back into here. I kind of liked the first one better. It just did more to our sound, and I'm going to turn off gate. And the other one I wanted to show you is, of course, which you may like this better, is filter, auto filter. So you got sidechain here, do you know? So we can do that, but look what happens when we click sidechain, drum loop, and now listen. But you have to add this envelope. You might have to go down. Always experiment if you're not really that sure. Oh, well, we have to play the drum loop. So let's bring this envelope all the way up and let's see what we got here. And what would happen if we did it like this? Maybe we would have to move it up like this. What if we did this? Give it some filter drive. See if pre-effects matters at all. Wow, it does matter. So that's pretty cool. So like you can do that to anything. In fact, I got an idea. I'm going to just drop something simple. I just want an operator. I mean, I just want a sine wave, I should say. I'm gonna legato this. I'm gonna go into MIDI effects, drop a chord, because I don't, it just makes, chord just makes things easier. Like, okay, I want a +3, I want a +7, I want a +10. It's a minor 7 chord. I just want a sine wave. Okay, click play. Go into envelope. I'm gonna lower the volume a little bit. And then what I want to do is I want to take this, option drag it over here to operator. See? Now listen again. So if I go into drum loop, like look what happens when I... That doesn't work. So back to where it was, because it was a 4-bar loop. Let's do... So yeah, what I really like, and I always knew this, but like, you know how like sometimes you can almost get lost in your own way? Do you know what I'm saying? You know, like you're doing things and they're the things you commonly do, and even though you know there's other things out there and you may have even experimented or played with them, like I haven't done Formant filtering in a while. I don't really do, but it's like, it's such a unique area. Like I was saying, like wavetable, you know, can give you like so many sounds, and I think they actually do have like Formant filtering wavetables. So in fact, you know, that's actually something I'm probably gonna go take a look at now. I'm pretty sure there is. We can probably take a look at that. I feel like I'm gonna be ending the tutorial, or not, like, this is basically a podcast. In my opinion, you may think of it differently, but because I know some people probably just want to watch me do Ableton. Other people enjoy hearing me talk at length about things. Other people probably like both. If you're someone who just wants to see the Ableton, well, when you fast forward, and actually this helps me when I like edit these things, if I just want to find where like audio starts, like you can just scroll through, and when you're looking at Ableton, like the meters will go up. So you go, oh, that's when the Ableton starts. So, you know, just throwing that out there. So yeah, this was really cool. Boy, Formant filtering with analog sounds very unique. I want to try to see if I can find a way where I can like make like really nice sounding pads and stuff with it that aren't so abrasive, because they boost all of these high frequencies to give it those vowel tones, and it can just be very abrasive. So before we get going, because like I was very happy to go on, it's been a long time, it's been like maybe a month since I've recorded a new one, and I kind of felt like a little like, you know, like I don't have anything I want to come on and talk about, and I feel like I've covered everything. And then literally just slowly over the past few weeks, this just started filtering into my awareness. So I was and then with that side chaining, which by the way, you can also do it with compressor, which that's the most common form of side chain compression, where you'll have like the kick drum plays and everything else ducks out of the way, ducks in volume. And you might say, well, isn't that exactly what gate is doing? And it's like, well, kind of. Compressor has more of like a sucking effect, like a ducking, sucking kind of effect, where, but then you've got all those controls with the gate, so you can pretty much make it sound any way you want. And also, by the way, before we move on here to find the Formant wavetables in Wavetable before we get going, because I almost feel embarrassed, it's only been like 30 minutes. I don't know why. I feel like I accomplished what I needed to, and I probably could have ended it 10 minutes ago, but I didn't want like a 20-minute SDHO. I don't feel like that's intimate enough. I feel like it has to be at least 30 to 40 minutes, otherwise it's not really like an intimate hangout. So smash a like and subscribe if you enjoy these. So yeah, let's do this before we get going here. So basics. Something tells me we don't want basics. Formant. And we're going to be using this here. So what does the first one start with? And look, we've got all of these. So yeah. Ouch. So what do we want to do? Take down the semitones. Oh, I want to go lower, I can't go lower. Well, you can probably just play lower on your keyboard or whatever, but I'm using the laptop, so I'm just going to jack a pitch in the MIDI effects. Listen, that sounds good. Immediately, I'm like, oh, let's take this filter down, and then get envelope, and let's give it, go to matrix, and frequency, give it some of this. How good is that? More. Like, how good does that sound? Notice how we're getting this visual feedback here. Like, and then if you're like, mate, that's amazing. Well, guess what? We can scan through this dumbass wavetable. Give it some I guarantee we need some filter drive. Let's beef this up. That sounds good. I was like, all right, let's. I'm like, yeah, I kind of want it a little bit lower, so let's go down a little bit, and then we can take this amp down if you wanted it. I'm done, man. That was so good, and like obviously you can just play around with these. And then this is the same note. This is the same pitch. It's just the harmonics change. So it sounds like it's different, but it's not. The harmonics are changing, and the harmonics is what is the result is a timbre, is what's called the timbre. So like, for instance, the best way to think about timbre, if you don't know what timbre is, it's actually spelled like timbre, like Timbre, but it's pronounced timbre. I don't know, it's probably like ethnic or European or something. I have no idea. But the way you can explain timbre, and if you don't know, just forget about it. I'm a teacher, I'm a storyteller, so I have to like get into all of these things. But so like if you had a trumpet and I had a piano and we both played the same note A, let's say 220 hertz, I believe is a nice A note. I would play it on the piano, you would play it on the trumpet, and if we had that spectrum analyzer, the fundamental, that A at 220 hertz, we'll just say 222 at 222 hertz. But someone would say, they'd say, hey, they're playing the same note. Why does the trumpet sound different than the piano? Well, it's because the trumpet has different harmonic makeup after that fundamental 222 hertz frequency than the piano does. And so the timbre is what makes it sound, is what it gives it its unique sound. And the timbre of these vowels, when we go like A, E, like there's certain like clear spikes in the harmonics. And so the makeup of that, and then if you like modulate them around A, so that's why analog might be your new best friend. And we even got into Formant filtering with wavetable and those really cool rhythmic techniques. 777. Dude, this is absolutely bonkers. My lordy. I'm not looking for that. Like, they just happen. This was good. Buy an NFT if you really want to support the show. Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. If you don't like hearing me do a lot of talking, just fast forward to when you start seeing the metering go up and then just watch that. Otherwise, hang out. It's meant to be a hangout. I could probably get so many more viewers, so many subscribers if I just did short, succinct little tutorial teaching videos. And I could do that, but I don't care. I want to hang. I want to relax. I want to tell stories. You can't tell. No one wants to hear a damn story when they just want to know how to sidechain compress a kick drum to a bass. You know what I mean? No one wants to hear, and that was the first time I opened up the side chain on the compressor. They're like, why? Why are you doing all this? And I'm like, hey, so that's why. So support it. We're growing. We can get into some digital art stuff, because all of you guys, if you guys don't know basic digital art stuff, like basic digital video stuff, I mean, yeah, we can do all of that. So let's build a community here. Let's show the love. Be good to yourself. How is your ascension going? And if you don't know what that means, that's fine. When you're ready, hope you're doing well. Enjoy yourself.